What's going on, everybody? It's Gray, aka the Cogray, and we're back with more RWBY, and it's a good episode. Oh man, dude, I thought last week was good. This week was equally good, maybe better. Because we got something really cool this week. I'll get there when I get there. Couple things real quick before we start. One, I'm going out of town, so tomorrow, where I normally record on My Hero, there will not be one. Because I will not be here to record it. I'm actually recording this one in advance. In fact, my flight leaves in like 7 hours. And I haven't gone to bed yet. So that'll be interesting. And that's really it, actually. I feel like there was more that I want to talk about, but I can't remember. So, My Hero. I'll still be active on YouTube, so feel free to comment and like the video. Subscribe, or on Twitter. Follow me. It's in the description. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to plug my stuff because I feel like I don't do that enough. You know what I mean? I have a Twitter. I use it sometimes. I say things. Either way, let's get into the episode. Also, like this thumbnail? Yeah, me too. Okay, artichoke. We start off with Ironwood and Winter, really, but it turns into Ironwood, Winter, and the Aesops. They basically are like, he's not really going to blow up the mantle. He wouldn't do that. He's not crazy. And then... And then he's like, Winter, get ready, the bombs. And she's like, oh, really? For what? And he's like, well, to blow up Mantle, of course, in case they don't do what I tell them. And everyone's like, oh. So, Marrow, the good boy Marrow, we all knew this was coming. He was like, this is crazy. You're crazy. I used to respect you. I'm wearing a leash. Honest joke, dog. I'm out of here. He walks away. And Ironwood pulls out the gun to shoot him. And then Winter, being the best girl that she is, punches Marrow and is like, I'll deal with this, traitor. Don't worry about it. And she, kicks him away. She saved his life, is what I'm saying. Because Iron was about to shoot him because his back was turned and everything. I was just going to put a bullet in his head. But luckily, Winter, with her quick thinking, was able to make it look like she was just as angry and upset by it, which we'll get to later, blah, blah, blah. Basically, I think they're both defecting. Probably right now. Either way. The only problem I have with this scene is the problem I have with a lot of RWBY, murders. Because here's the thing. They've shown time and time again that if you get caught off guard, you don't have an aura. But, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. It's just, I feel like these really high-level huntsmen should always have their auras on. Especially, I don't know, but... in my head, I was just funny imagining, I'm wishing him and, his aura breaks. And he's like, dude, what the heck? And everyone's like, yikes. But, yeah, that's really it for that scene. Let's go on to the next scene. Oh, okay. Before we get into this, there is a little bit of stuff that happens beforehand. Basically, the rest of Team RWBY, besides Juniper, is kind of discussing what they can do because they don't know what to do. They know they're on a time limit. They're on an hour time limit. Salem is still out there. Basically, it looks pretty hopeless. And RWBY is like, we're back at square one. We have nothing to do. And then she just kind of storms off. That's kind of that. However, then we get to go upstairs where Junior's talking. John, Ren, and Nora. And Ren is like, hey, I'm sorry. I was a jerk to both of you. My bad. And he's like, I want to be a better partner. And he's looking at Nora, and John's like, oh, my bad. And he leaves. And the whole scene, I was like, John, it's cool that you're here, but get out, dude. I need this. This has been 8 volumes in the making. I need for this to happen. Obviously, they don't look very happy. So what did happen, Hokage, you might be asking? Well, one, I hope you wouldn't ask that. I would have thought you watched the episode because you're just here for my opinion on stuff and me to make funny jokes sometimes. But, yeah. No, actually, okay, so this scene was handled, in my opinion, pretty much perfectly, for the most part. It was an incredibly mature and realistic decision to make, because basically Ren was like, hey, basically, he also confessed his love to her, which was like, oh, my heart, and then, we'll get to the end, but then she was like, listen, Ren, ever since you found me, we've been running Nora, and that's all I've known. She basically gives, the speech she gave to Blake, I believe, earlier. And Weiss? Either way. to Ren, she's like, I don't know who I am without you. And before we do this, like, I love you, but before we do this, I need to figure out who I am. And he's like, I will wait for you. And I was like, oh. Obviously, they're in, like, the midst of, like, a world-ending event. So, like, yeah, it makes sense to put it off. We got Ren, they confessed their love for each other, which is super cool. And they didn't do it in a really cringy way, which is good for the show. Because I kind of feel like that's the topic for another time. Also, Ren said boop, and it was. Listen, I don't like think stuff is cute very often, but oh man, that was woo. Yeah, and then Jean comes back and is like, "Hey, we need your help." Which we're going to cut to after we talk about this. So we see Crow and Robin. This is a really quick exchange. Basically, Crow's like, I'm going to go kill Ironwood. Brr, I'm Crow. My only character trait is I get really angry about stuff and bad stuff happens to people around me. And that's not quite what he said, but I'm paraphrasing. Robin's like, okay, buddy, you're a good huntsman because you're fighting for the same side. Like, you're fighting for what's really good. Right now, you're just fighting for petty revenge, and you have, like, anger to direct at someone. So, like, we need to not go up there and just kill Ironwood. We need to, like, figure it out first. And he's like, okay, you're right. And the elevator opens, and then, like, this is all we get. They're like, the door opens, and they're really surprised. The problem is this can really only be Winter and Marrow, because there's literally no one else it could be. That would make sense at all. Like, at all. So that's kind of that. I assume it'd be really cool if it was like something way out of left field, like Clover's back from the dead. I would not like that. Please don't do that. But either way, I really racked my brain. I was like, could it be Glinda? But Robin doesn't know who Glinda is, so why would she act surprised? She was like, this random woman showed up, and I was thinking about other huntsmen and like Raven, but once again, this has to be people that Robin and Crow both know. So, like, the only thing could be, like, Jacques? I never know how to, I'm sorry, guys. I just don't remember how to say his name. I think it's Jacques. Jacques? I don't know. Weiss's dad, okay? Mr. Schnee. That's literally the only other person besides, because, like, if it was anyone else, I don't think, even then, if it was Winter and Marrow, it seems weird to me because they're surprised and not immediately like, better attack. Because I feel like if Winter and Marrow showed up, they wouldn't be surprised. They just want to attack. So I don't know. Either way, so it's probably is Winter and Marrow, and they're probably going to team up and try and help the friends take down Ironwood. So Penny's wigging out because she's getting hacked, and she's like, I need to go to the vault and self-terminate. I don't know why I gave her a Mickey Mouse voice, but I did. So she's trying to fly away. We got Blake. Well, the rest of Team Team RWBY is trying to hold one arm. Junior's holding the other arm. Oh, Emerald's there, by the way. I forgot to say. And it just was funny to me because I never realized how many people had whip guns? Guns that have like whip-like attachments, because there's so many. There's like 3 in this scene, and it's those are emeralds, by the way. You see on the left we have, well, on your guys' left, Blake, no, dang it, Blake, Ren on this side, in the middle was Emerald. I don't know why. I spent like 10 minutes explaining something that like anyone who watches the show knows. Once again, everyone has seen this, assumingly, so whatever. And Ruby's trying to hold her down. Weiss uses her, like, gravity rune, I guess, is a rune, to hold her down. And then they're like, and she's like, Ruby, this I do want to talk about, actually. She's like, Ruby, kill me. I'll make sure you get the powers. So, a little preface before I get really into what I'm going to say. When this show first started, like, really early on, there was a series called World of Remnant, and it kind of sucked because it was always in between episodes, but it built up the world. And then we got the story of the maidens, and then it's kind of like with Pyrrha and stuff, like in Ozpin, the maiden stuff we actually learned was real. I always thought that the direction the show was going to go, and I didn't know if it was like too, I don't know, maybe now looking back it might be a little too corny, but I always thought that there's 4 maidens, there's 4 main characters, each forming, like, eventually all of Team RWBY was going to have a maiden power. Like, each one of them was going to have one. I thought that was, like, obvious to me. That just was always seemed the direction. And then eventually that just kind of faded out because it just didn't seem like the show was going there at all. And then she mentioned that, and I thought, now hold on, it's still possible. Because what do we know about the maidens, right? I believe we know for a fact 3, if I'm not mistaken. We have Yang's biological mother, Raven. So, like, that connection kind of does itself. If Raven died, she probably would think about Yang. Let's be honest. She probably would. So, like, we got one of the maidens down. Penny, who, if she died, she said she'd do a RWBY. And, like, assuming, just in case she ever died, RWBY getting the powers. So, there's 2. And then the only one that really throws a wrench in all this is Cinder. I'm going to be honest. Cinder doesn't make I don't know how, because Cinder I kind of think is going to be there till the end. I'm going to be honest. I don't see Cinder going away anytime soon. So maybe Penny will give it to, like, Weiss. What I'm saying is, originally I thought that's what was going to happen, and now I think that now that it reminded me, because I haven't given that a thought in so many years, really, that it is still possible, and I think it would be. Here's the thing. I don't think it would be corny. I think it would, especially because, like, all the main girls are, like, important, and certain characters on teams adjacent Tuner, the characters that those are based on, don't have happy endings, so they might not make it till the end, and that just would make sense. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's not really my prediction. It's more of, like, a fun theory that I have that I've had since the beginning. As soon as we really knew about maidens, really. I just thought it makes perfect sense. 4 maidens. 4 main girls. Makes sense to me. Either way, just food for thought. Just food for thought. Also, if it happens, I totally called it. So now you have to give all that credit to that theory to me. I put all the stock in that one. Yeah, so they get her down, and then Nora's like, remember, it's just a part of you. And then Ruby's like, you're right, Sean. Get over here. And then he boosts her aura, and that just kind of works. So I guess the aura is connected to the soul. So when he boosted her aura, it boosted her soul, I guess. Which has a lot of interesting, you know what I mean? Not really. But basically he boosted her aura and it, like, fought back the virus because the soul part of her body was more powerful by a lot at that point than her robot part. However, she's like, I can still feel it. Like, it's temporary. Eventually we're going to have to go. And they say that. Like, they're like, we have to go to the vault. Well, okay, hold on. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the next one. We at 5. Okay, yeah, well, oops. Well, anyway, I see this is a really long scene. I didn't even think about how long the scene was. Normally I try to break it up with pictures in between, but the next picture was, I just wanted to, anyway. Emerald is like, or no, sorry. They don't say that we're going to go to the vault. Originally they're like, yay, we're, like, happy, like, we don't know what to do, though. And then Emerald is like, you guys, it was actually super freaking funny. She was like, you guys are getting, I was going to quote her, and then I realized that I don't swear. She says a no word. And basically Emerald's like, you guys can't give up as soon as I join sides. That's like BS. And it was very funny, actually. I thought it was hilarious. And then they were like, ooh, you said change sides. And everyone was like, tee-hee. And everyone's like, not like I'd like you or anything, Baka. And I was like, oh my god, guys. Like, come on. It was a pretty cute scene. I like Emerald's, what's the word? Like, sarcastic pessimism that she brings. That, like, a lot of the RWBY girls were too, like, nice to each other to have. So I like that she brings it to them. I like Emerald. What can I say? I like Emerald. I'm interested to see what happens when her and Cinder confront each other, because I think that's going to happen, as, well, the end of the episode I spoiled. Basically, then Ruby's like, we got to take Penny to the vault. So I guess they're going to make a plan to stop Ironwood. That's interesting. And then the episode just kind of ends with a, actually, right before we see a tiny clip of Ironwood just standing menacingly by the vault waiting for Penny. Oh, yeah, because Ruby called him. Stupid. We see his phone, or scroll, sorry, light up, and he's like, and Ruby's like, we're coming, and he's like, good, and then he puts it away. I don't know why. I'm doing impressions today, I don't know why. And then the last thing we see is Watts is, like, hijacking a robot to hear their conversation, so he hears that Ruby's bringing Penny to the vault. And then Neo shows up and like points her gun at Cinder, and then he's like, they don't say anything. So he just looks at Cinder and she looks at them, and that's the end of the episode. So obviously the big highlight of this episode for me personally was definitely the Ren and Nora situation. I have waited 7 years for that. Ever since they were like a characters introduced, I always liked Ren and I liked Nora. And as soon as I knew that they were like, I was into what that was happening. And we got like tiny little snippets throughout the show. A little bit in volume 4, I believe it was. Oh my God, was it volume 4? God, it's 4 or 5, one of the two. And we got a little bit of that. So that was really sweet. And then like this volume was like the drama. And I was like, oh yes. Ren and Nora development. And boy, we got it. We got, unfortunately, I think pretty much the last development we're going to get until the end. Because they basically said that they're going to stop until she figures out what she is. But I'm going to assume that's not going to happen until the end of the show. Or at least close to the end of the show. So that is a little unfortunate. That my favorite ship, and no, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But my favorite ship, and I hate saying the word ship because it makes especially around RWBY, that word is really tainted for me. It's just unfortunate that like, yeah, it's nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, the exchange was really good. Like it made, like I love the exchange they had. It did feel real. It felt completely natural. I enjoyed the maturity of it. I really liked it. It's just, as a person who like wants to see cute stuff in the show, it was unfortunate because I'm like, that's pretty much the Band-Aid. It's a smart way. It's a really smart way of doing it, but it is realistically like Rooster Teeth being like, cool, we don't have to deal with them really anymore as far as like their relationship development. I'd love to be wrong. I would love it if like every now and then we check in. And I hope that's the case. I hope we like check in on them. We have like a private moment. They're like, hey, like hi, blah, blah, blah. And they know that they love each other now. So hopefully we do get some cute moments, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume that this is going to be the end that we see for them until much later in their relationship, at least. Now, if we can just get that other relationship to figure it out, that'd be great. I'm not going to say what I'm talking about, but yeah. Oh, and Oscar... at Oscar one point also was like, hey, Ozpin's back and he trusts you. And then everyone was like, I trust you. And everyone was like, well, cool, okay. If everyone will trust you, then we trust you. Everyone's like, yeah, we kind of get why you were the way that you were for the most part. And he's like, oh, good. Oh, I'm Ozpin. And that's kind of the episode. So, another banger. RWBY is really killing it this volume. I think I've said this every time, but I'm glad. I'm glad, except for the Hazel episode. I didn't love that. But they immediately brought it back right after because episode 10. Woo! Episode 11. Oh, man. We got 3 more episodes of these bad boys, guys. We got 3 more. We got potentially a 3-part finale. And I'm really hoping that we get some awesome fights because this volume has been great, but it has been pretty light on like the RWBY famous fights, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. I think RWBY a lot, well, especially at the beginning, which unfortunately, Monty was a genius when it came to choreography, combat choreography, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. But RWBY's pretty well known for its really awesome fights, and we haven't gotten a ton this season. At least, like we have like Cinder versus like Penny. That was cool. That was really cool. Obviously, we had Hazel and Salem, but we need like some good old fashioned one-on-one, just like pounding the crap out of each other. And once again, I'm a little worried because when I think about it, there's a lot. We have a ton of good guys right now, like a ton. Especially if Winter and Marrow defect, it can't possibly be Ironwood and the 3 remaining Aesops against every other character. So Cinder definitely has to show up and do something because I refuse. I just wouldn't narratively make sense. If we get another Volume 5 situation, I'm gonna be pissed. By the way, I'm gonna be really mad. I don't think that's the case though. I definitely do think they've learned from Volume 5. They've shown that they have. And I'm going to be honest, RWBY always, in my opinion, this video's running a little late, so I'm really quick. Basically, in my opinion, the last episodes of every volume kind of dropped the ball a little bit to me. The episodes before those were cool. Like, the build-up to the finales was really cool. But the actual finales themselves, to me, have always been a little bit of a letdown. Unfortunately, though, that is all the time we have. Not really, but it is almost... I try not to make these videos go past 20 minutes, and it's a long one. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for me. I really like this episode. What did you guys think about this episode? Yeah, you know, also, I have a surprise planned for the end of this volume. I'm not going to say what it is, but it'll probably be my most controversial video yet. I'll just say that much. But it's going to be fun, and it's going to be fun. Once again... there's not going to be a My Hero video, at least in the next couple days, which I normally upload it. When I get back, I'll upload it, but that might not be for a while, so don't hold your, it's not going to be the normal time. It will be a couple days late. But I do plan on doing the video still. And other than that, I got nothing to say. So thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see all of you next time.